So welcome to Beyond Definitions. Now, this call is basically, I put together this call for a couple of reasons. One is I wanted some of you who don't have any idea who I am. And I'm becoming a 3-day Access Consciousness Body Process Facilitator. September 1st, I'll be facilitating a class here in the United States with Dr. Andrew Gardella. And then after that, I'll be facilitating classes around the world. And a lot of people don't know who I am. So, I'm Dr. Anthony Mattis, and I've been facilitating Access Consciousness for the last 6 years. And I'm not going to get into my story. If you want to know my story, you can go to my website and check it out at dranthonymattis.com, and you can kind of get my background. But this is my gift to you. And I was just texting Gary just 2 days ago. My son Vincent was shooting a movie in Maine in the United States. And yeah, I'm pinching myself. It's like my son's already made 3 movies. And it's like, if you knew what our life was like 7 years ago, you'd be like, wow. But as I'm on the set watching the movie, I had this realization that people have no clue what's actually available to them. They have no clue that there are things that are available to them that's beyond this reality. It's not to say that this reality is bad. It's not to say that this reality is wrong. Okay, but I know that most of you that are on this call right now, you've always known, you've always had an inclination that there was something else. There was something beyond just the automatic pilot in which people are functioning from. And so, I've had this awareness since I was a little boy, but I've had so many tragic things happen in my life along the way that I began to doubt it after a while. I started to give up on that idea until I found Access Consciousness. And I sent Gary a text and I said, Gary, people have no idea that there's something more. They've accepted what this reality has presented to them, whether it has to do with relationships, whether it has to do with their economic status, their financial status, whether it has to do with their body, the health of their body, whether it's mental illness, whether it's chronic pain. And like with these tools of access, it's like after about 3 years of me doing access, I realized that access consciousness is more than just getting you over your problems. It's more than just getting you past the drama and trauma that you may have experienced in your life. There's so much more available beyond that. And what do I mean by that? Like, what do I mean by like the available, like what is more available? What is that? Now, that's different for everyone. What I want to discuss with you is something that's not even really explainable in words, no matter what language you have. And it really is beyond experiences. Like, it's one thing to have an experience and you're happy, and then you come home from a seminar or a workshop, and by time Wednesday rolls around, your life is back to the way that it was. There are things that I'm still benefiting from that I did in Access 5 years ago, 6 years ago, especially with body classes. When I tap into the energy of those experiences, when I tap into the energy of those moments when my limitations began to dissolve, that's still available to me right now. That didn't go away. And since then, I've been able to build on it and build on it and build on it and build on it to the point of where I am right now. And I'm a work in progress. I have not arrived. Okay. I still have my bad days. Okay. But my life is exponentially greater than it's ever been. And I've been through some shit in the last 49 years. I'll be 49 years old next month, okay? And so again, I don't want to go through my whole life story, but I want you to know that there are things that are available to you that's beyond the trauma and drama that you've experienced. Everything see, we have this point of view that the sum total of our lives is a result of the things that have happened to us. That's bullshit. Okay, so everywhere where you bought that whatever has happened to you, whatever has happened to your body is the sum total of your life. Will you destroy and uncreate that point of view? Right and wrong, good and bad, PON and POC, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. And if there's new people on this call, if there's new people who are going to be listening to this call on the replay, I'm doing an access consciousness clearing statement. I will not be explaining it to you on this call. You can go to www.theclearingstatement.com and you can learn more about it if you're interested in learning the specifics. But it's really not relevant to know what each of those words mean. Just know that it works, and it's designed to clear any areas where you may be functioning from unconsciousness and anti-consciousness. Now, this call is about going beyond definitions. For anything to not be working for you in your life, it's because you're defining it. It's because of your projections and expectations. It's because of your conclusions about it. In Access, we teach to live in and as the question. But what most of us do, even those of us who've been in Access for 6-7 years, is we'll ask a question to find an answer. That's not how it works. You want to ask the question to stay in the question so that you can have an awareness. And awareness is only good for 10 seconds. A choice is only good for 10 seconds. Most of us don't choose because we're afraid to make the quote unquote wrong decision. And what if every decision you make is only good for 10 seconds? So what I like to invite you to is something that's beyond anything that you have ever imagined that was possible for you, the being, and your body. When you define things like, oh, this neck pain is from the accident that I had 15 years ago, or this stomach ulcer is because I'm in a shitty relationship, or, I'm not able to have, good sex with my lover because I lust too many other people, or I'm just flat out bored. Those are all definitions. Those are all conclusions. Or I'm over the age of 45, so therefore my hormones are changing, and therefore my libido must be less or low. And then I cannot perform sexually. Everything that just brought up or let down, will you destroy and uncreate that, please? Right and wrong, good and bad, PON and POC, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. You see, these body processes are not only designed to change things in your body, but they're also designed to change things in your life. They're designed to not only help you to receive turn on. Now, when I mean by turn on, I don't mean like wet vagina, hard erect penis. You could have those awesome things too, but that's just the side effect. That's just part of it. But what I mean turn on is I mean where you're actually in communion with everything. You're in communion with the chairs that you're sitting on, the bed that you sleep in, even if it's a shitty bed. You're in communion with the homeless person on the street. You're in communion with the plants, the animals, the trees, the very ground that you walk on. Whether it's grass, a mountain, sand going through your toes, or beautiful European stones, cobblestones in the middle of the street. You're in communion with all of it. And these body processes have a way of creating that space in your body so that you can actually perceive the communion in all things, so that you can perceive the turn on in everything that you taste, touch, smell, and even beyond the five senses here. Okay, we're talking about accessing more consciousness, right? I mean, that's the name of what it is that we're studying, is access consciousness. And I know it sounds silly, but it's like, I texted Gary, I said, that's what we're really doing here. We're accessing more awareness. We're accessing more of what you know already, but maybe forgotten, or you've always known it, but everybody else told you you were wrong for knowing it. What if you can live in this reality, but you never have to be at the effect of this reality. And everything that doesn't allow that, will you destroy and uncreate that? Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. So definitions alone are a limitation. The minute you define, oh, if I go to this 3-day body class, that means I'm going to experience this, this, and this, you've already destroyed your possibilities. Sometimes going to an access consciousness class, okay, sometimes you get the shit kicked out of you. It's happened to me. It's not always this feel-good, motivational type thing. If you're truly desiring more consciousness, if you're truly desiring more change, okay, you have to be willing to look at what is. And that's the good and the bad and the ugly of you, and the good and the bad and the ugly of everyone else without a point of view. Okay? If you want to experience turn on all the time, you have to be willing to be as an open wound. You have to be willing to lower those barriers that you've resurrected because of maybe the abuse that you had, whether it was physical, sexual, verbal abuse. You have to be willing to lower those barriers and be the space of vulnerability, not so people can take advantage of you, but so that you have all of you available to you every 10 seconds of your life for the rest of your life. And everything that doesn't allow you to claim, own, and acknowledge that, will you destroy and uncreate that, please? Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. So how many definitions are you using to create the limitations you are choosing? And when I mean limitations, I mean with everything. Money, your sex life, your relationships, your culture. How many definitions of being Hungarian are you using to create the limitations you are choosing? Are we infinite beings, or are we just Hungarian? Are we infinite beings, or are we just Italian? I did a DNA test for this particular body. I know I'm an infinite being, and I know I've been every culture there is. But this particular body is a mutt. I'm a mutt. Okay? Most of this particular body's DNA, 69% of it comes from Western Europe or Southern Europe. I don't even know anymore. 69, I'm Italian and Greek, wherever that is. 69%. The rest of it is a little bit of everybody, right? But we make our culture so significant. Well, that's just the way that I am. That's the Italian in me. That's the Puerto Rican in me. That's the Irish in me. That's the Hungarian in me. Is that a limitation, or is that a possibility? So, how many definitions are you using to create the crap life you are choosing? And if your life doesn't suck, awesome. This is about what else you could actually add to your life to make it even greater. It doesn't have to go up and down, up and down. What if it was possible to have your life become and be exponentially greater every day? And when shit shows up in your world, you have the tools to deal with it with ease. Okay? What if, how many people were made wrong for being turned on at one point or another in your life? Whether you were a little child and you were exploring your body parts, or maybe you were kissing your cousin when you were 6 and your parents walked in and they went, oh, no, stop, right? And that created a beyonding universe, and that gets locked into all the cells and molecules in your body, right? And then therefore, as you become an adult and you are naked and you're trying to experience this kind and nurturing touch with someone else, it's very difficult for you to receive it because you've been locked up since the time you were 5 or 6 years old. Okay? I'm not talking about copulation. That's not what I'm talking about, okay? We can talk about that on another call, but that's not what I'm talking about. That's like a bonus. And so many people have so many points of view about that, that we're not even, that's a whole nother topic for another day. But it's like, if you're in a relationship, let's say, for example, or not, what's wrong with two people just spooning each other in bed and just holding each other and being the energy of, I got your back? That's what these body processes create. They create this sense of receiving, and it's this space of permission to be. There was a particular body process that was run on me. I don't remember what it was. It was like 5 years ago, and all the names change all the time. But there were these particular contact points. I'm not going to tell you where it was, but one end was very up close and personal. Let's just say that, okay? And I'm like, oh my God, I don't know if I can handle this. This is really vulnerable right now. But I knew that if I was willing to receive that particular body process, that it would create a change that I was looking for. I just knew it. And it was so funny because when the class had ended, I got out of there so fast because I was still kind of embarrassed after the body process, right? But what it did for me is it had invoked or impressed this sense of empowerment in my being that I didn't have before. And I was able to go give a talk in front of, I think, 50 people who were totally disinterested in anything I had to say, but I didn't have a point of view about it. I was able to deliver what I was saying in a way that worked for me, and I didn't care one bit what they thought about me or what I was saying. And that was the first time that that had ever happened, because I have spent my whole life wanting to be liked by everyone. My whole life. I've spent my whole life as a professional healer worrying about, if I say the right thing, will they choose me as their healing practitioner? What if you could just be you, and whoever chooses you for whatever reason chooses you? And by being you, you will attract more people than you ever imagined. But being me was a wrongness. Okay? I had so many definitions of what being me was that my whole life has been a limitation until now. So how many definitions do you have of your body? How many definitions do you have of the abuses that your body has experienced? And everything that is times a godzillion, we destroy and uncreate it, please. Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all 9 shorts, boys and beyonds. And how many definitions are you using to avoid being able to change anything instantaneously are you choosing? Do you know that you can change with these tools and access consciousness? Do you know that you can change anything instantaneously if you chose it? And if you simply changed your points of view? Everything is changeable. And everything doesn't allow you to claim, own, and acknowledge that. Will you destroy and uncreate it, please? Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all 9 shorts, boys and beyonds. What I'm inviting you to, beyond this definition, is I'm inviting you to accessing not only more consciousness, but a palpable energy that goes beyond anything that you can ever explain. It's an energy that consumes every single cell and molecule in your body. So much so that it actually affects your being as well. Because it goes beyond your body. Okay? Our bodies feel, our beings sense. How many of you have decided that all the pains in your body are a result of the accident that you had, the stress in your life, the bad foods that you're eating, or the bad drinks that you are drinking? Everything that is times a godzillion, will you destroy and create it, please?
Magyarul szoktam, és nem tudom, hogy most miért.
Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. How many of you have decided that the sexual abuse you had is preventing you from having sexual communion with a lover? Or being able to receive someone who actually truly desires to be kind and nurturing to your body? Because if you already go into, let's say, a session, a bar session, even a body process, or if you're getting together with a lover or someone that you may want to play with, if you already decided that you can't receive or they just want something from you, how fun is that going to be? You've already destroyed it before you even got started. So everywhere you keep using your past in your present, which is ultimately destroying your future, will you destroy and uncreate that, please? Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Your past does not have to dictate your future. Ever. Ever. I lost my first wife to suicide 7 years ago. Like, it was like another lifetime ago. Now, our kids that we had together, they look like her from my point of view, so like I see, parts of her old body in them every day. But that doesn't create a heaviness in my world. It doesn't weigh me down, keeping me from living my life in the present. Now, it took me some time to get there, okay, because that whole experience created a beyond in my world, okay? But in using the tools, I've realized that no matter how tragic of a situation you've ever gone through, it doesn't have to be part of your life moving forward. Yes, you can use the story to show people like where you were and where you are now, but that doesn't have to dictate the next 25 years of your life. We have a body process called trifold sequencing systems, which is about, experience a particular trauma, whether it be physical or emotional. And you talk about it as if it happened yesterday. But the event may have taken place 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 years ago. I know people that talk about their divorce that happened 20 years ago as if it happened yesterday. There's no space in their world for a different possibility. If you're still angry at your last lover and it was 20 years ago, is that fun for you? No. What if there was something else beyond that? And I'm not talking about a new lover. I'm talking about accessing this very palpable source that permeates all life. All life. And you have that available to you. You have it available to you. But we're so beaten down by our life experiences. And if you believe in past lives and all that stuff, and if you believe that you're an infinite being and so on and so forth, then we're so bogged down the things that happen to us in other lifetimes. But just this one life's enough, right? Right? Just this one life is enough, the shit that some of you have been through, okay? These tools that we have available to you begin to chip away and create space where that stuff that you've been bogged down with, that stuff that has created unconsciousness and anti-consciousness in your world, it's not there anymore. Then we have a new problem. It's called space, which most of us are not used to, because when we have space, we go, oh, fuck, What do? I'm swimming out in the middle of this ocean. I have all these possibilities. I'm so scared. No, I can't handle it. Boom. And then we go like that. And then we start creating more shit in our lives. And then we're like, oh, I'm never going to get over it. I'm just fucked up. I'm a lost cause. No, you have to be willing to be comfortable being uncomfortable for a little while. Most of us make no space more valuable than space. So when those things begin to be destroyed and uncreated, and then you have this space and you're like, oh my God, I could breathe. I have me. And you feel these like tingling sensations consuming every part of your body. And you actually feel turned on for the first time in years. And maybe it's the sexual turn on. Maybe it's just turn on everywhere. It doesn't have to be the sexual thing, okay? And it's like, you don't know what to do with it, right? And you start to freak the fuck out. You're like, oh, and then you start being turned on by everyone. And you're like, oh my God, I'm a bad person. I shouldn't be turned on by that person. I'm in a relationship. That's wrong. And then you might find that you're turned on by the same sex and you're straight. And you're like, oh my God, I'm turning gay. What's wrong with me? Like, we're insane, right? It doesn't have to be that way. What I'm inviting you to is just this palpable energy that's available to everyone on this planet if they choose it. I'm inviting you to this space of infinite possibilities. But I'm also going to have you be aware that in those moments, especially in the beginning, you may be uncomfortable. Some of you may feel like you're dying. You may feel like you're dying. Guess what? You are. You are dying. All that shit is dying off of you. And now it's like now you're like an artist and you have this blank canvas called your life. And guess what? You get to choose what you want to put on that canvas. You get to choose the paints. You get to choose the kind of paints. You get to choose the landscape. Whatever the hell you want to do and create, you get to choose it. And will you have people judging you? Yep. But they've been judging you anyway. So you might as well be judged and create your life your way. They're going to judge you anyway. So what's more fun? Destroying your life, not creating your life, or actually creating your life? Either way, you're going to get judged. So you might as well create the hell out of your fucking life and have fun. And what if you were having too much fun when people talk to you and they're like, you actually believe in this shit? I've had good friends of mine say, you actually believe in this shit? And I looked at them straight in the face and I'm like, it's not about believing in it. This shit actually works so much so that my life is so much better than it ever was. I am doing everything I've always dreamt about doing since I was 10 years old. Everything. And then I actually come to realize that my very ask has been too small. But what are we told in this reality? Be happy with what you have. There's a lot of people out there suffering. Count your blessings. Right? You shouldn't ask for too much. And I'm not talking about gaining more material things. And if you want that, great, cool. There's nothing wrong with that. But what I'm talking about is living your life your way and having what's available to you, this palpable energy in source that permeates every part of your body. So could we start defining or changing our definitions of pain in our bodies as actually just intensities that we're unwilling to be aware of? How many definitions of your body are you using with regards to pain are you choosing? And everything that is times a godzillion, we destroy and uncreate it, please. Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. What if the pains in your body are merely intensities and information your body is trying to give you? What if that's all it was? What if all your crazy thoughts and feelings and the pains in your body, what if not one single one of them belonged to you? Not one. What if it's just awareness? Now what do? Well, you use the tools. Even if you don't believe that they're working in that particular 10 seconds, just use them and things will change. I promise you. I've done a lot of modalities in the last 20 years of my life, okay? By the time I got to Access Consciousness, I was so fed up with tools and techniques, okay? And begrudgingly, I was using these tools and they worked exponentially better than all the other modalities, okay? I was using these tools half-assed and my life was changing. How many definitions are you using to create all the automatic pilots that you are choosing? What part of your lives are you functioning on automatic pilot? How many definitions of all the things that you have right in your life are you using to create the limitations you are choosing? See, we only want to work on our problems, the things that we've concluded that are wrong or not working. What about the things you've concluded that are right? Could that also be a limitation? This is a whole different way of being in this world. It's a whole different way. Because what's right now may not be right in the next 10 seconds. And that includes your lovers. That includes what you do for a living. That includes maybe some of you may exercise. Maybe you've been doing this particular workout for 10 years. Well, have you even asked your body if it likes that workout? Or you just do it because you've defined and concluded what your body's supposed to look like? I've come to the realization that I like to exercise because I just want to be a good lover. Because you got to be kind of in shape to have good sex, you know what I'm saying? You have to be flexible in the hips, you have to have a good core, you know, unless you're the person who's not moving and the other person's doing all the work. But, you know, it's like, I work out so I could be a good lover, you know? And I have my good days and bad days. I'm not perfect, you know what I mean? But it's like, all my exercises are designed so I can move my hips a certain way. Okay? And I'm not getting any younger, so I want to make sure I stay as flexible as I possibly can for as long as I possibly can. Because you know what, you guys? When you drop something on the floor, there are some people who have a hard time bending over and picking it up. That's no fun. There are people that I know that can barely wipe their ass because they can't reach. That's not fun. Everything that just brought up or let down, can we destroy and create that, please? Right, wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Do you ask your body how it would like to move? Ask it. Everything about your body is movement. Your heart is beating. You're digesting your food. Your brain is constantly sending signals out to tell the rest of your body what to do. It's all about motion. Yet we stop creating. We stop using our talents and capacities and potencies. Where does that energy go? You can't put a lid on your capacities. And some of you have. Where's that energy going to go if you don't express it? If you don't be the contribution in this world that you truly be? It goes inward, and then it wreaks havoc on your body because energy is never still. Create. Don't ever wait to create. I'm a little ADD right now. I'm going everywhere because I'm excited. And I'm tapped into all your bodies kind of being excited too. I only see like 5 people right now, but everybody's like, yay. You know, but how would your body like to move? And stop defining what your body should look like and stop looking at it, someone else's body and judging your body. Everywhere where you keep looking at other people's bodies and judging your body, will you destroy and uncreate that, please? Right and wrong, good and bad, pound and pop, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. And everywhere where you keep looking for someone else to validate your body, will you destroy and uncreate that? Interesting point of view, please. Right, wrong, good and bad, pound and pop, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Most of us spend our day judging the shit out of ourselves. I read somewhere that we have over 1,000 negative thoughts per day of ourselves. Holy shit. If you're not using interesting point of view, you're fucked. If you're not using an interesting point of view, I have that point of view, you're fucking yourself over and not in a good way. So it's because of your definitions of your body is the reason why you can't change it. Everything that just brought up or let down, will you destroy and uncreate it, please? Right, wrong, good and bad, pon and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. And how many definitions are you using to create the who, the what, the where, the why, and the how called you are you choosing? And everything that is times a Godzillion, will you destroy and create it, please? Right and wrong, good and bad, pon and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. You know, with the bars, with ESB, with SOP, with ASB, as Dane calls the sessions that I do, with the body classes, with the potting and pocking, okay? It's an invitation to have all of you. It's an invitation for you to be you and be the contribution in the world that you are capable of being. Otherwise, you're just dying slowly, from my point of view. As a chiropractor for 20 years, I would put my hands on people's bodies and I can perceive the frustration. I could perceive the bitterness, the anger, the blame, the guilt of their lives passing by. And it's all locked into their body. And they wonder why their pains come back or their intensities. It's because they're not willing to be. They're not willing to be. Everything that just brought up, will you to try and uncreate that? Right, wrong, good and bad, pound and pop, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. And all the definitions that you have defined that you will not lose, that you hold on to them so tight that if you actually gave them up, you would no longer be you. Will you destroy everything up to those, please? Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. So for those of you who are choosing to come to any body class that I do, and there's amazing facilitators around the world too, okay? It doesn't have to be my class, all right? Run these clearings on definitions, please. For those of you who've had choice of possibilities, they're in your choice of possibilities manuals. If you haven't, get to a class. The body manual has completely changed. It's brand spanking new. But if you're coming to one of my classes, I'm asking you to run these clearings because I want to be able to go way beyond what even you're asking for. I use the word want, which means to lack. I would really like to see us go beyond anything that you have decided that you can have. That's my invitation to you, is to go beyond even your very ask. And for some of you, that's totally and completely foreign because most of you have told you should be happy just with this because there's other people down here and you should be grateful for what you have. That's a fucking total lie. What if by having everything that's available to you, you become the example of what's possible for other people? And then it's really just their choice of whether or not they would choose what you have. It's just a choice. How many of you feel guilty because people are suffering while you're choosing to create? How many of you slow yourselves down so you don't go too far and outcreate those that you love? Everything that is times a godzillion, we just trying to create all of those interesting points of view, please. Right, wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. So it's like, yeah, if you ever see like a little kid when he goes to an amusement park, or let's say you're really hungry and you're going to your favorite restaurant and you get like really excited, like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go to the amusement park, or I'm gonna go have some really good food, and your body gets all turned on. That's how I am with regards to these body classes and when I do sessions. Because when I see people show up, I get excited because I know what's possible for you. I know what's available to you. And I get to contribute to that in my way. That's a gift to me. That's not work. It's a gift to me to facilitate you in having more for your body and your being, which ultimately creates for your family too, by the way. So it's like, I don't know even know what else to say anymore other than, go and play. Come, I invite you to the 3-day body classes. If it's not mine, go find someone else. I hope you got to know me a little bit from this call. If you want to learn more about my story, my children, there's a video on the website. You can get more information about me. It's all in English, so I don't know, maybe somebody will translate it or something like that. But if you want more information about me, check out my website. But yeah, I just invite you all to more. And every single one of you on this call can have what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about experiences. I'm talking about having something that's palpable and available to you every day for the rest of your life. And it's infinite. It's infinite. There's no level you reach. It just keeps going if you keep choosing. Are you going to have bad days? Yeah, sure. But you'll be so fucking aware, you'll know why it's all showing up. You'll know. And then you'll know what questions to ask to get out of that, whatever that 10 seconds of yuckiness is. It doesn't have to be yucky for 6 months. Even if you lose your job, even if your lover leaves you. It's like, what if you can get over all this in an hour? You know what I mean? So, all right. I'm not going to facilitate anybody on this call, but if you have a question, I will answer it. But if it's for facilitation, I'm not going to do that. You need to come to a class if you want facilitation. That's the deal. So I'll answer a couple of questions before we go. You're welcome, for those of you who are thanking me. Okay. Any questions, Rita? No? Okay, cool. Well, I want to thank you all for your time. You will get a recording of this. Please listen to this again. And this time, instead of trying to listen to me cognitively, I want you to actually tap into like my universe. And you can pull and take from me whatever it is that you would like to take, because I am an infinite being and it will not deplete me. Okay? Because I want you all to have just a little bit of what has been made available to me over these last 7 years. And I'm eternally grateful for all these different things that are showing up. And my life is really, truly just beginning. And that is what is available for you also. Okay? All right. Thank you. Nice to see all your pretty faces and handsome faces. All right. Bye-bye.